What is going on, everybody? It is me again. It's HorrorFan34, and welcome to another video. And welcome to another review for the 31 Days of Horror in October. Now we are on day 4 of the Marathon of Horror Films. Now, for this one, I figured I reviewed the first film before for one of the other 31 Days of Horror I did a few years ago. So I already reviewed the first one. So why not talk about the sequel, which is actually my favorite of this franchise. And of course, that review, will be on this. Maniac Cop 2. You have the right to remain silent forever. Now, Maniac Cop 2, released in 1990. Once again, William Lustig comes back to direct. Speaking of William Lustig, I was just fresh off of reviewing not that long ago Maniac from 1980. Now, before I go into more about this, like I said before, with William Lustig, I've always been a big fan of him as a director, whether it be the Maniac Cop films, like especially the first two, that he directed. Because Maniac Cop 3, he had a little bit to do with his behind the scenes problems, but I really do like Maniac Cop 3 as well. So all three Maniac Cop films I really do enjoy, but also like Vigilante with Robert Forster, or Relentless with Judd Nelson, the original Maniac with Joe Spinell. And William Lustig's done a lot of really great stuff. I would say this is one of my personal favorites that he's directed. Definitely my top 3 of William Lustig. I almost want to say my favorite William Lustig film, probably. But Maniac Cop 2, like I said, it takes place after the events of the first one. Of course, the character of Matt Cordell, Robert Z'Dara's character, is not dead. The people of the first film some of the people in the first one that survived, they do get killed off in the very beginning, and then he introduces some new characters. Now, getting on to the cast. First off, you do have Bruce Campbell come back from the first film, who survived the first film. Of course, he doesn't last long. He gets killed 20 minutes in. And then it kind of leads more toward Claudia Christian's character from The Hidden, I think the TV show Babylon 5, who was in the first one. And she's teamed up with a new person, Sean McKinney, played by Robert Davi, which is this guy here. Now, Robert Davi, always been a huge fan of Robert Davi as an actor, whether it be in Die Hard, or The Goonies, or even Maniac Cop 3, he was really good in that as well. I mean, he was in No Contest, which is a fun Andrew Dice Clay sort of low-budget action film. Robert Davi, a lot of other stuff as well, just a lot of them to count. He does a great job in this, although I think Maniac Cop 3, he had more to do in Maniac Cop 3 than this film, but I still think Robert Davi did a nice job in this. Other cast members in the film that are in the supporting roles, you have not only Robert Davi, but Bruce Campbell for a little bit, Claudia Christian. You also have Michael Lerner from Barton Fink in here. You have Leo Rossi from the original Halloween 2 and Relentless films. He's in here. Like I said, Robert Z'Dar. I miss Robert Z'Dar. That's an actor who I really miss, Robert Z'Dar. When you see him in interviews and you hear stories about Robert Z'Dar, just how much of a sweetheart of a guy he was in real life. There's even a point where there was a director or something like that, and he hired Robert Z'Dar to be in his film. It was his first ever film he was going to direct, and Robert Z'Dar complimented him and things like that. And Robert Z'Dar realized he didn't really have a place to stay, so he let the director share his house with him and help him get him on his feet and things like that. And basically, and then I think eventually that guy, I think that guy ended up becoming Robert Z'Dar's agent for horror conventions and things like that. So, and the director, that guy would tell a bunch of stories about Robert Z'Dar, just saying how he would always remember your name, and if it was someone's birthday, he would sent a card to them and a little present and things like that, and just had a lot of really nice things to say about Robert Z'Dar. And he just seemed like a stand-up guy when you see him in interviews, and but he did a really good job playing really creepy characters. And Robert Z'Dar also loved this little small role in Tango and Cash as the prisoner with the big chin. If you know Robert Z'Dar's chin, like that's like his trademark, you would know him from Tango and Cash. He was in this other film that I really like called Dead End City with Gregory Scott Cummins. Also in the film, Charles Napier, Murdoch himself from Rambo 2, has a supporting role in this as well. So there's a lot of people in this film. The music is done by Jay Chataway, who worked with William Lustig on the original Maniac and does a great job in this. And pretty much it's about, Robert Davi and Claudia Christian going after Robert Z'Dar again, Matt Cordell, because he's not dead and they try to kill him again. And one of the things that the reason why I say this is my favorite of the Maniac Cop films, and even Part 3, I actually like the sequels better than the first Maniac Cop, but I love the first one too. What I like about the sequels, especially this one, they did more with the stunt work. So it's a lot of practical stuff, and Maniac Cop 2 was not a theatrical release movie. This was direct-to-video. And the amount of action they put into this direct-to-video movie is insane. You have literally a bus crashing into a bunch of cop cars. You have cars flipping over during car chases, and a lot of really practical stunt work. Like there's even a point in the finale where Robert Z'Dar's character of the Maniac Cop is on fire, and he's killing people while he's on fire during the finale, and it's actually real. So I cannot imagine how that felt like being on fire like that. So gotta give credit to all those people who did the stunt works in this and all that stuff. But once again, William Lustig did a great job directing this film. And I said this before in I think I might have mentioned this in my Malignant review. The whole finale of Malignant and the cop station is very similar to a scene where in an action sequence in a cop station in this film. Just how insane it is with the action. And just the fact that it was direct-to-video. This wasn't a theatrical movie. Think about that. There was not really much of a budget for theatrical. It was direct-to-video. And all the stuff they've done with the car chases and car crashes and stunt work and things like that, they made a very kick-ass action slasher movie with horror elements. And once again, written by Larry Cohen, who did the It's Alive films and The Ambulance and The Stuff, and did a great job writing all the Maniac Cop movies. Like I said, I like Bruce Campbell as the lead in the first Maniac Cop, but I think Robert Davi is my favorite lead of the Maniac Cop movies. Because, I like Bruce Campbell, Evil Dead and Army of Darkness, Evil Dead 2, even the beginning of Congo, he was in that, Bubba Hotep. But I think Robert Davi is still my favorite lead in the Maniac Cop movies. Because I'm such a big fan of Robert Davi. Like I said, Die Hard, The Goonies, and a lot of other stuff that he was in. Maniac Cop 3. Does a great job. And it was really cool to see people like, Clarence Williams III, who just recently passed away. I think that's him. May he rest in peace. And it was cool to see people in here Michael Lerner, Bruce Campbell for the little bit that he has, Leo Rossi, Charles Napier from Rambo 2, and Robert Z'Dar once again just is absolutely terrifying as Matt Cordell, the Maniac Cop. And like I said in the first, not like I said, but in the first one, you got the backstory of the Maniac Cop where he was framed and he was put in prison and he gets murdered in prison, and he comes back from the dead to get revenge on the city and things like that. And this is sort of like a low-budget version of Predator 2, because Predator 2 dealt with the Predator in a city, and it was a very action-packed movie in the city, but that was on a bigger budget. While this one was direct-to-video, and it takes place all in a city as well. So I kind of say it has like Predator 2 vibes to it because it takes place all in a city with a bunch of action in it. Except one was theatrical and one was not. But if you really do enjoy the first Maniac Cop, I say definitely give this a look. I think it's more entertaining, it's more action packed, it's got more gore. And even Maniac Cop 3 I have a lot of fun with, but this is my favorite Maniac Cop movie. So if you enjoy the first Maniac Cop, I highly recommend you check out the sequel. So that is pretty much it for my review for Maniac Cop 2. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.